How much more, Kim Ji-hoon? How much more must I bleed? We're not going over that right now. We're going to continue with... not this. We're going to continue with the checkup. However, I will record this in my own time. Don't worry, you'll eventually get some videos on the Arknights collab. For now, we've got to do a checkup. Well, now that that's over and done with, I'd like to see the regular checkup's complete. Peak. Okay, end of interval. I'm going to go play the Arknights collab. What are your conclusions? Allow me to preface this by saying there isn't much significance in establishing this particular hierarchy of power on a linear scale. Each of your placements in that line you are standing in signifies that very order you are so curious to know. I do not wish to waste any more breath on this subject. He's saying it's the other way around. Yes, the line was made from my point of view. Yeah, obviously you're the strongest. Does that mean Yisang is canonically the weakest? Poor guy. I wasn't even a part of the list. I get it, because Gregor's the outcast. Ha ha, funny. We had no choice but to place you in the least favourite category of all researchers. Exceptions! I'd say you carry a certain potential. He's literally saying Gregor is potential, man. Sorry, bub. As you all must be aware, the current system of classification numbers has a rather significant oversight. Because abnormalities were creations of the former Lobotomy Corp, our classification system had to be lifted whole from their system. However, the criteria by which the former L Corp measured the risk level was the amount of their energy production. As a correlation of sorts, it was often the case that the more aggressive abnormalities produced more energy, but their destructive capabilities were not a part of the criteria despite the correlation. Yeah, I thought it was a bit odd that something like melting love was in the same category of a literal black hole. That is why certain abnormalities were assigned relatively lower risk levels despite their potential to kill even multiple higher ranking employees. Cough cough, meat lantern. Thus it became necessary for us to reorganize the distortion's risk levels and classification codes. According to the LCD on-site investigative reasoning team leader, the progression of a distortion is much like that of a disease. The fate of an abnormality awaits at the end of the distortion phenomenon, after all. When a distortion progresses into an abnormality, all pre-existing individuality is erased, replaced with the totality of an abnormality. Thus, it is impossible to bring back a distortion that has already transformed into an abnormality. Yeah, because I think we saw that in one of the Lobotomy Corp endings, no? We saw that one of the endings you can get is basically everyone gradually converting into an abnormality. Presumably from their own distortion. Oh, so there's a scale of 1 to 10, and Time Rippers was expected scale of 6. What else other than the Monolith? Uh-oh. We're going to go look at the Monolith? You know, the thing that causes distortions? Let's see, from Canna to Star of the City, I suppose your assignment will be somewhere between Urban Plague and Urban Nightmare. Not Star of the City yet, are we? No. You do have the potential to become a Star of the City threat at some time in the future, but do remember that it'd be best if you could avoid that unfortunate designation. Mirror Dungeon! Finally, we have a chance for you to overcome an adversity based on what you have learned thus far, and for me to prove my hypothesis. Uh-oh. Activating the artifact. Excuse me. I will be the subject of the experiment myself. So he's gonna forcibly distort himself. Aren't you curious to see what kind of distortion you'd end up becoming? I'm sure this question you've all entertained at least once. Well, we don't need an answer for Heathcliff. No, I ain't curious. It ain't a very pleasant experience either. See, listen to the man himself. Distort, 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 distort. What if something unexpected happens? We're talking about your life here. Don't you have any manuals with backup plans, or this is a simple matter, nothing more than a coin flip, heads or tails? Ahaha, it's like combat because I always flip tails and get my ass kicked. Dude, bro's literally saying progress through my mirror dungeons. That's how this bamboo-hatted Kim was brought back as well. Yep, I knew you fucking had him in here. I can still hear them. Yes, I remember. I still do. I know it'll be back, but gosh, this is pretty unnerving. I suppose I'll be forced to share my past here. The past I never wanted to share, the past no one cares to learn about. It is something I must endure for the sake of the experiment. However, I needn't expose every little detail of it. We're in a Lobotomy Corp branch. I can tell by that music. So if we're in a lobotomy court branch, there's a good fucking shot he was a lobotomy court worker. I'm gonna take the flaming gauntlet. This one seems best suited for the situation we're in. We take the combustion gloves. I saw burn and I was like, that's best for me. Your vision, however, does not involve digging up my past. That's kind of the point of the Fathoms, no? We figure out your past. Had it been up to me, I would have manifested a place that was much more fascinating than this. Like that library, able to have every book in existence. Holy shit, is that a motherfucking Library of Arena reference? So, yeah, he worked at LobCorp. Yeah, they definitely have Meat Lantern. I can hear the theme faintly. That theme I've listened to for hundreds of hours. We came across a group of researchers passionately poring over various documents. They're having a debate about two subjects, emotions and flame. Regular flames don't seem to hurt the abnormalities very much, so why does this work, I wonder? Perhaps a greater degree of wrathful emotions opens up the room for the fire's heat to touch abnormalities and distortions, both entities of the unknown. Ego gift, reignition plug obtained. The selected identity healed for 30 HP and SP. Hey, we take those! The cell began when that man walked into my laboratory. Yes, I had a personal laboratory all to myself, one of the few perks being of an elite researcher. I don't quite remember what he looked like. Something like this, perhaps? Whichever is the case, I was planning to censor his appearance anyways. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about something. Okay, so he hired some person from the back streets and now he's grateful. Alright. I mean, yeah, this is a reason for them to live in a nest, in all fairness. So I can see why he'd be thankful. The thing about this being a mirror dungeon is, we get to keep our sanity. Yay. Nice. Nice. Good job. Roll 2 tails in a row award. At max sanity nonetheless. The entire deletion of the lobotomy court branch is the first warning scenario, by the way. He chose himself over the others because he saw himself as better. The old court branch within Honheim's dungeon of the Fathoms begins to crumble. We'll find out the truth, Honheim. Because, yeah, I've still got quite a lot to go through. We've been learning a lot about the abnormality recently. There's still a lot of unknowns, but still. Speaking of which, here's a pop quiz. What ego gift can you get from Abdor Blossom Moth? You can get the Hellflyer's Dream. Helterfly's Dream. Right on the money. You know your Abdor Blossom Moth. But that's not all. Recently he's been giving out these things too. Take this with you. I'm just glad to have run into a kindred soul. You receive a burning, flickering flame. It seems to have come directly from the Abdor Blossom Moth itself. See, I've fought this thing enough to know what it gives. We are here at the end of the Fathoms of Ego. This may be my final order to you. Either suppress me and return safe and sound to where you came from, or fail the suppression, place me in a containment unit, and perhaps we can observe what happens next. That's when Heathcliff suddenly strode forward. Honheim, do you still believe in that potentiality? I do. It's what keeps me going. You only hire researchers from the back streets, don't you? I heard from them earlier. They told me you were a right pompous bloke, but thanks to you, they can continue to research and believe that there might be things in the world that are worth working towards. That's why he picked Heathcliff, because Heathcliff reminded him of the others. Because that seems no good. You're not winning against this. Magic bullet, fire! Thank you for all the burn ego gifts. Because this is going to hurt you like a motherfucker. Alright, now he's got his shield up. Right, so far, nothing bad. We can still just offset. Besides Sinclair, but detonate the magic bullet. There goes the shield. We got more dark flame. Oh god, where did all that coin power come from? That shield ain't saving you from this. Alright, big attack. I'm going to attack with magic bullet. Ow. No more shield. Oh, that's a lot of dark flame. What plagues your mind, manager? Your suppression efforts seem to be smooth sailing. It is exactly of you as scene manager. Save for a few parts that were censored, I concealed nothing from your view. I don't believe I have committed any wrong by escaping that place alone, leaving the others to be buried there. Of course, it may be reprehensible from a moral standpoint, but why would anyone look at it from that perspective, manager? Especially when you are well aware that, in the city, such a perspective is entirely irrelevant and worthless. I can feel his gaze on me. Like he said, the suppression is going well, but this feels wrong, that it shouldn't end like this. What should I tell him? What's Homheim trying to hide from us? The poise really isn't an issue. The shield I can just chunk through. I'm just going to get rid of the SP. If I was relayed my words to Homheim, another side to my story is it. Indeed, that is quite feasible. You are correct, that another side is what often gets lost in the process of observing other specious concepts like the fathoms and the heart. Speaking from a consequential point of view, perspective provided by one's memory is narrow by nature. Even in the fathoms, the deepest part of one's heart, where many believe lies nothing the ephemerical, absolute truth, we are still capable of lying. Fascinating, isn't it? They call it metacognitive error, some call it unconscious bias as well. I see. You argue that the story I have shown you was simply a fabrication. Indeed, I have not shared any perspectives from my employees, but there is no way by which we may verify them anyway. Isn't it obvious why that is? They're all buried underground, reaved even of their final words. I can finally understand at least to a degree what Vigilius and Don Quixote have been telling me. That there was nothing to call a human face remaining in its distorted form. I think I caught a glimpse of loneliness from Homheim's expression. Distorted Homheim's SP passive, confirmation bias weakens, becoming self-doubt. It's over, Homheim. We're putting you in the padded room. You get to have a lunch with Kim. The escape pods to the surface are here, but there's only one seat left. They're saying that the next one's in 5 minutes. Look, I don't actually believe you hired me because you saw my potential or something like that. But I want to believe that you found the hope in potentialities because of me. A hope, an anticipation that we can make things better as long as we keep at it. I can't leave you all behind. I can't just save my skin not without everyone. This is what a right-hand man does, isn't it? Take my potentiality you found and rise. Take it with you to the surface. But you, Johan, what about you? Well, maybe next time. Some other time. Wrath is a hideous emotion. That is why I did nothing at the entrance of that branch. Only remembering, nothing more. Remembering the ones I've left behind. I can sense the dungeon of the Fathom slowly beginning to close. Sometime later. Ah, I've returned, safe and sound. Welcome back, boss. To be frank, I once wished to become someone like you, Heathcliff. What are you talking about? We don't want Heathcliff to be like Heathcliff. Let's move on now. Mephistopheles is prepared to depart. We'll meet again, right? Ew, no, thank you. The last thing we saw before the portal activated were the LCE researchers pushing up their glasses in our general direction. Though it had only taken a step or two, the entire world around us seemed to transform, landing us back inside the transportation instrument. Now that I think about it, we didn't even get to learn why Gregor's bones were making those cracking noises. All we learned from this experience is that the sinners have all become mediocre, but they each held certain potentialities within themselves. Each of us mulling over the events at the LCE, we returned to the bus where Karen and Virgilius were waiting for us. Well, shit, I guess that's that. Shut up. I don't care. Shut up. Wow, that's so cool anyways. Yes, I must gamble. Gamble. Come on. Fuck! I ain't never getting these egos, bruh! Anyhow, that'll about do it for today's video. If you all enjoyed, let me know by leaving a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Thanks always for watching. And I'll see you with the Arknights missions. Take care, and fare thee wells.